And we're back!
Hi, guys!
Hello! Please let us know if the audio sounds okay. I messed with something by mistake before we started, and I just want to make sure it all sounds all right.
Are we here?
We are.
Is this the
thing?
thing?
Is this happening?
Is this the thing that's going on
Okay,
right now?
sorry guys. I just shared it to the Catt and Kristen page. Oh, if we get a fucking hellscape, I will be so mad.
I have mine on mute. Mine is
same,
silenced.
same. Give me one.
Nikki says we're
second.
fine, and Allie says we sound good.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Give me one sec. No, did I share it maybe to my page?
Did you? I know I shared it.
No, we didn't. Okay, hold on. Give me a sec. Delete. I shared our own video to our page where it is already happening. That's okay. We're good. Everything's fine. Okay. Write a post.
God'll get you for that, Kristen.
God'll get you for that, Kristen. Sorry that we're sitting here on our phones.
Totally casual. But as you can see, we are here.
We are. Okay, that's it. We're good. We're done. Done. Hello, everybody. Love the makeup. We're both wearing makeup today, which is like a weird time. Because we did something exciting today.
Very exciting.
Do we get to talk about it? Or
we're not talking
about it until next week, I think.
We're not talking about nothing.
Yeah, no, we can't talk about it. But stay tuned. Tom and I have just spent a lot of time with one another today, which is a beautiful time.
It was a wonderful time.
It's a beautiful time.
We had one hell of a situation.
We did. But welcome back to Catt and Kristen. My name is Shut Up Kristen.
And my name is Tom Catt.
And together we talk about cosplay and the community, and we're back. I was on a work trip last week, which is why we did not have an episode, because as we explained, life in general. So we really appreciate that you guys were still engaging and watching, and thank you so much to everybody that has shared our episodes after the fact or while watching. Thank you so much.
Guys.
The fact that we're now averaging around 2,000 views per episode is mind-blowing and completely in thanks to you guys. So thank you so much. You guys are amazing. You rock.
We love you all so much.
Thank you so much. Like, that's just outrageous. Just outrageous.
And now that we've gotten that out of the way, there's been a lot going on in the cosplay community.
Woo!
So much going on in the cosplay community.
I went away and I was like scrolling through my Facebook. I was on very low Wi-Fi where I was. There was like barely any reception. So at the end of the day, I'd quickly try to catch up. And I was like, what's happening? What's going on? I've been gone for 5 days. What's happening? Yeah.
There was a lot that went on.
Yeah. But we're not here to gossip.
We're not here to gossip.
We're not here to throw shade.
We're just here to drink our tea and be as quaint as humanly possible.
Yes, indeed. Reminder, I will just say, the only thing that we will say about events that have happened, reminder that cosplay is not consent, to be kind to one another, and to don't touch people that don't want to be touched. That's all I'll say. That's it.
Respect
people.
Respect people.
Yeah.
That's all we ask.
And we say this every episode, so
it's become commonplace.
That's it. Yeah. But that is all we'll talk about.
That is all we're going to discuss as far as that is concerned.
About alleged events. So, scammers.
Story time.
Story time.
So, there was a gentleman, and we're going to probably, I think did we share this story to the page?
I don't know. I haven't shared anything to the page. Have you?
I'm pretty sure I shared it to the page when it all
transpired.
Came out. There was a person that used a woman's photos and videos, alleging that their child had cancer, and that they were going to try and set up an event to raise money for the Children's Cancer Association. Completely and totally fine. However, it came out that one of the prop makers that was messaged put two and two together and found out that this was a phony profile.
Yeah.
And
catfishing.
And realized that this was a catfish situation.
Yeah. We also should say allegedly.
Allegedly.
Just for legal purposes.
Just for legal purposes, allegedly.
Yeah.
Some sleuthing did occur.
Yeah.
I may or may not have been a part of it.
Definitely not, right?
Subtle.
Weather.
That's my middle name is Subtle.
Weather.
I don't think there's ever been a time when Tomcat and Subtle have ever been used in a sentence except for Tomcat is
Indeed.
not subtle.
Yeah. So, catfishing, lying about really terrible stuff. Just like the fact that we even have to discuss this sort of scamming is outrageous because it's like, what sort of person does that?
People that want what they want and they feel they can get it no matter the consequences.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people do research and people do their due diligence when it comes to these sorts of things.
Definitely.
And the truth will out.
Yep.
That is what brought us to the topic for today.
Yes.
Finding appropriate costume makers,
Totally.
commissioners, prop makers, people that you can say, hey, you make a quality product, I would like to purchase it from you.
Yeah.
To the vendors, understand that you will most likely run the risk of running into a similar situation.
Yeah, it's both sides.
It's both sides of the coin. It's both sides of the coins, both vendors and buyers.
And commissioners also have to deal with a lot of the time sometimes bigger name cosplayers wanting to get stuff for free from them in exchange for promo, which whether you want to do that or not is completely up to you. But that I personally think is a little bit of it's a
famous
scam.
Cosplayers. Listen to me.
Hear thee.
Heed my words.
You shall not pass.
You ain't owed shit.
It's very different if a commissioner comes to you and is like,
if a commissioner says, I would love to create this piece
or strike a deal.
Or strike a deal. Be it prints, be it you make them a costume, they make you a prop, or whatever the signed deal is, as long as they're not singing Poor Unfortunate Souls to you, you're sound. Yeah.
Indeed. Or if they are, they're probably Tomcat.
And if they are, they're probably me. Oh, I am the sea bitch, aren't I?
Yes, sea bitch.
I am.
Yeah, so it's a thing to really be careful of because I feel like more and more now I'm seeing people post like terrible interactions that they've had. Because the other thing is that commissioners deal with the same thing that a lot of photographers also deal with, where the level of their work is questioned to an unnecessary degree, where people are like, oh, I could get this cheaper from somewhere else, and trying to barter with them. And pretty much commissioners have to either decide that they want to stand by their product or you know, lessen their prices because they're not making what they want. And it's a super hard thing to do, but don't let anybody get you down or question your level of work when you know it's at a certain level and it is, you have to be charging a certain amount.
It's important to remember that the cosplay community is continuing to grow with each passing day.
Yeah.
With each passing weekend, a new influx of cosplayers will make themselves known.
Yeah.
And they're going to reach out to prop makers. They're going to reach out to photographers. They're going to reach out to these people basically saying, hey, can you do me this service? And the prop makers, the costume makers, the photographers, they will say, sure, here's my price. And it's the same thing with cosplayers.
Yeah.
When promoters come to cosplayers, there's a deal that has to happen.
Totally.
And it's keeping up that level of communication, because there are times even when cosplayers will say, oh, well, I have all of this. You should do this. You should do this for free
or for discounted
or for a discounted price.
And that's not always
that's not the case.
And quite frankly, like it's not always beneficial either for the commissioner.
This really sort of ties into money matters in the cosplay community.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times what it boils down to is money matters.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why scammers come up constantly. Think about it this way. You wouldn't buy Comic-Con tickets off of a scalper in New York City. Why would you do similar to someone that may or may not have achieved their items through ill means.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And it's like, so then it bears the question of like how to spot a scammer.
There are signs. There are signs that you can. There are tells more often than not.
I also will not personally. I often, if I'm going to commission someone to
research,
to do a wig, to get a prop, research. If they don't have reviews from people, I'm not gonna probably buy from them because, to be honest, I don't know their quality of work. I haven't seen their work in action, sort of deal, and that's just safety for me. And to be fair, if I were to contact someone and be like, "Hey, I'm really interested in this," and they had stuff to show me that proved that they, even though they don't have reviews, that they can do what I'm looking for, then I also would accept that. But it's going the extra mile if you're gonna pay a lot of money.
Facebook is a wealth of information.
Totally.
You can go to their pages and look up reviews.
Yeah.
You can go to their pages and look up what people have had to say. You can go to Facebook and just find out all of these things. I'm going to tell a very personal story.
Go.
A few years ago, I had commissioned someone to make my Arkham City Catwoman costume.
I remember this. Yeah.
And I had been waiting, and I paid them a fine sum of money to have this costume commissioned because at the time I did not know how to work with leather. I didn't know how to work with spandex.
Yep.
I mean, now if I wanted to make it, I still probably couldn't.
Yeah.
But also, thank you for the people that are complimenting our makeup.
Yeah,
really
tons of people
really
being like, "You look at." It's really making me question if I look like that much of a schlub all the time. I'm really like, and it's so funny because today the 2 work meetings I had too, both of the women were like, "Oh my gosh, look at you," and I was like, "Do I look like a trash person all the time in comparison?"
You know what? With the makeup off, we look like trolls.
Oh my gosh, I was like, but thank you, thanks, yeah, but continue.
There was a lot of correspondence between the 2 of us.
Right.
And then I paid in full.
Right.
And then they went silent. Mm-hmm. And as a cosplayer, there's this moment where you're like, why haven't I heard from them? Let me try reaching out a few more times. Constant back and forth. And, you know, people will always tell you, I'm sick. I haven't been able to make it.
Yep.
I haven't been able to work on it.
Yep.
Then they had sent me pictures of another person's costume that was progress pictures, and it wasn't my piece. So I had purchased. I'm going to try and see if I can remember the dates as best I can. I think it was in March of 2014 that I had initially made the last payment. It was in 2013 that I initially struck the bargain with this individual. Then in March, I paid everything in full. And then silence. I was supposed to wear this costume for New York Comic Con, I think 2014.
Yeah.
I didn't receive the costume, I think, until 2015. But the amount of anxiety that I had to call the Better Business Bureau of California where the person was located.
Yeah.
And this is something that's very, very important. If you feel you've been scammed out of money, and your scammers or your commissioners or what have you are in a certain state, call their Better Business Bureau.
Yeah.
Write to them.
Yep.
Find them online. Write them a detailed email about everything. Make sure you have all of your receipts. Keep your emails.
Yeah.
Keep your emails. That is so vital.
I was about to say, too, never strike a verbal agreement with someone. Ever. Always write it down. If you meet someone at a con, they're like, oh, I can make you this for this price. Don't immediately Venmo or PayPal them or whatever. Like, don't
make sure there's an invoice.
Make sure there is an agreement.
Make sure there's an agreement.
Also, just Phil has like a really great note here. Stop sending money through Venmo and PayPal using the friends option. Neither back refunds. And that's totally fair. And if you are getting like, listen. So I literally just today, if you look on our Facebook, there's like I'm wearing a Mars wig, and I literally just commissioned one of my good friends, Ashley, to styled this wig for me, and she did. And I'm sure that if I had said to her, hey, do you mind if I use the business PayPal option, even though she's a good friend and I trust her totally, I'm sure she would have been like, yes, you're doing that to protect yourself. It's a small fee for the seller. Like, if they are giving you shit about using that option, then they're not worth.
Then they're not worth the time.
They're not worth using.
They're not worth the
time.
time.
Totally.
Absolutely not.
And I love this too. They didn't send you progress pics as a commissioner. I always send pics as I sew.
They did send me progress pics, but it wasn't of the final product. It was of another person's completed project.
Yeah.
So when I got it, I paired up what my costume looked like and what the pictures looked like, and they weren't the same.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I had people messaging me about this woman because I had said on her Facebook page, I finally received my product. It was very well made. I was very appreciative of it, but you're still going to have to go through the process. And I am very, very hopeful that these people either received their refunds or they received their product.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's one of the things that you have to constantly, like, be on your toes with in this community. Because everyone's trying to make a fast buck. Yeah. And if their stuff is good, like there was one person who commented saying, do we recommend anybody to make costumes? And I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
I have a good friend. I have a good friend who does commissions all the time. Lily Archer Creative, Melissa. She is super, super, super great. And she's an amazing costumer. But again, you have to find who's right for you.
You have to find who's right for you.
And like, I'm not like, not to discount Melissa. She's amazing. But like you also have to find who's right for you, who can complete who has like a good commissioner has a schedule of they know how many commissions they can take per month. They know how many they can take per month. They know how many slots they have to fill. And like, that's like that these are questions that you should be asking. Like, these are questions that you should be, it's hard because like, if I were a first time buyer, I've never commissioned really anything like specific. Mm-hmm. And so it's hard to like know going into that, like, what are the questions that I should ask? Like, you know, what's the latest you'll have this to me? What will you send progress pics? That's a great question to ask. Will you send me progress pics? And can I pay a deposit? Yeah.
These have become commonplace. Yeah. These have become the types of questions that you ask right from the jump. Yeah. I was going to say something and then I lost it.
Oh no.
I hate when that happens.
Ashley said, Kristen, girl, you could have paid me in Hogwarts money and I would have been fine. And also hi to Jess and her.
For commissioners that I personally recommend, Tiger Stone Effects is very pricey, but their cowls and their masks are quality. Yeah. I've also used Rogue City FX. I've used Gotham City FX.
For my entire Sailor Moon group, for those of us that don't want to do resin builds, because a lot of us haven't worked with resin yet, including myself, we all buy our crowns and our earrings and stuff from Unique Cosplay Props on Etsy. Highly rated shop. And that's another great thing. If you're looking on Etsy and stuff for commissioners too, look at those reviews, look at those ratings.
Check your resources.
Please do
your research.
Yeah, and sometimes, I will say that sometimes going through a place like Etsy is a safer option because Etsy, you can dispute it.
Etsy has a lot
Etsy, you can dispute it. I've had to dispute stuff, just normal stuff with them before, and they are very professional about it.
One of the things that, and I'm going to get back to my Catwoman story.
Yeah, please.
She had an Etsy store. And I tried to dispute it. Do you know what happened?
What?
She had ended up closing her shop as the
Oh, wow.
Yep. She closed her shop and I could not do anything.
Screenshots, folks. Take screenshots. We hate to think the worst of have to think forward.
We always hate thinking the worst,
but you gotta think forward just in case. Especially when you're spending a lot of money. If you're spending sometimes for a full cosplay, you're spending like $300 something, and like if you're building a full cosplay, that's on the lower end too, to be honest. But sometimes you're doing that. Like sometimes you're doing that. Like, why are you laughing at me?
I'm sorry. It makes me laugh.
Yeah, sometimes you're doing that, like you need to have an insurance policy for yourself on that. Like, even if it's coming to an agreement with a commissioner of like, hey, I will pay you like this much amount, and once you send me a progress pic halfway through, negotiating. Like, not every commissioner is going to go for it, and people have their own stuff.
Always do your due diligence.
Yeah. And I like this too from Ashley. I don't usually like to pay in full just in case. I'll cover all the cost of materials and then pay the rest once it's finished to help avoid being scammed. Not all commissioners will be okay with that, but it can help to avoid it. And that's true. And or just being like, I'll pay for the first month of work. I'll pay for the first month of work of it. Once you send me a progress pic, I will send the rest. Totally.
And that's another thing that we have to take into consideration. A lot of commissioners are also cosplayers themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's always important to take into consideration their time and their own projects, as well as your own.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it's friends with friends with friends.
Yeah.
But as with photographers, artists, commissioners, painters, what have you, if they're doing you a service, pay them.
Yeah. Totally. And we've talked about this
unless there's that verbal, not even a verbal agreement, but if there's just that unspoken, like, because we've had that with us a number of times.
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. And especially this does go into photographers again. I know that we were just talking about photographers kind of like in one of our last episodes, but it also goes for photographers too. I know a lot of photographers that just ask for a deposit and then you pay the rest day of or day before, like they have a deadline of when you have to pay the rest by. But like that, if you're worried about a photographer, just be like, hey, I would love to pay a deposit and then pay you the rest in cash when we get there, or pay you the rest in whatever, and like then the photographer is safe, because if you get there and you don't have the cash, they can deny you. But
there's a cosplayer that does that, where it'll be like at the con that they're both at, there will be that exchange of currency.
Yeah.
And that's always something to like keep in mind. What's going on.
I was just gonna say this is a really good.
Read Joshua's comment.
Oh, please do read Joshua's first.
I was gonna say I charge fair with my armors, but depends on the deadlines. But this is a great topic to cover because I actually got cheated out of a last second commission I did for a client.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes what happens.
And that is also why commissioners, like photographers and whatnot, do have to set a deposit and do have to set that sort of thing, because it is their time and materials and all that sort of stuff that they're putting aside. And a lot of cosplayers or a lot of commissioners rather, really do only open up a couple of slots per month and know what their limit is. And if they're working on your thing, you're taking up one of those slots. So you could be taking a lot of money from them if you back out. Which leads into Ashley, Ashley's great for wig commissions. Contact her. I commissioned a costume and the commissioner kept changing the price in text. And then the last day hit me with a contract for a price that was $200 above what we initially talked about. And this was the weekend before the con, so I was out of luck and didn't sign it. And yeah, that's why I would recommend the moment that you get in there, signing a contract that states things super clearly. That's where it's harder on Etsy, because on Etsy, it's a lot of only conversations with the seller, and those conversations do mean something, but like there's way less invoice. So what?
The reason I laugh.
Why?
So, to those, no, go right ahead.
Yeah.
To those unaware, I was contemplating purchasing a Winifred Sanderson costume. Not that I wasn't able to make it on my own, because I was...
Which killed it.
Which I did it anyway.
They killed it.
But I was also very, very nervous about the own quality of my work, which a lot of cosplayers feel.
Yeah.
No one is immune to their own criticism.
Yeah.
I was initially going to commission this person, and I was going back and forth with them. A lot of the times, this is very important to remember, some people will get very offended if you're just asking them for advice.
Yeah.
And to me, that seems a little jaded.
Yeah.
Because if I'm willing to pay you for the product, at the very least, you could sort of tell me what works best and what doesn't work best.
Right.
However, there was one person that I had messaged about like what specific patterns to use for the detailing on the jacket.
Right.
And they told me that they weren't at liberty to discuss that.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, part of me understands, because part of me is like, that's their business.
Exactly.
And they're trying to protect their business. And so part of me totally gets that.
Which I understood completely, but it was just something to keep in mind.
Yeah,
like,
I get that.
There are times when you'll want to tackle something on your own, and you'll have to ask those certain questions, which some commissioners and some prop makers will not want to talk to you about.
Yeah, because that's their... I understand that to a degree, though, because that's their... As long as they're not rude about it, but it also depends on how you come at them as well. Takes two to tango.
If they're not rude.
Also, I love Tiffany. I spy Sailor Mars in the background.
No, you don't! It's a lie! That's an eye.
Do not mind the man behind the curtain.
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tiffany.
What's going
Go over
on?
to
I'm just gonna.
Facebook.
Nope. I'm right here.
We posted a photo to facebook.com/Catt Kristen. You did that. Wasn't me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, sure.
I'm a good Christian
fake
woman.
News.
That's fake news.
Terrible.
Oy.
Oy.
That's a conversation. That is a conversation.
But yeah, but on the flip side, again, because we're not trying to make it seem like every commissioner is a scammer, because they're not. There are so many amazing
it's just
commissioners.
This is what has come into vogue.
Yeah,
and it's definitely a conversation that we need to start having.
And so on the flip side also, cosplayers, y'all need to be nicer to commissioners and be more respectful when messaging them to inquire about costumes. If they pitch you a rate that you don't understand, ask them to break it down for you. If the price still doesn't work for you, then you haven't found the right commissioner.
Countless commissioners that will work with you on the price, because most commissioners are cosplayers themselves. They'll be like, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll break it down into brackets. Pay me this much this month, this much this month, this much this month.
That's another thing. A lot of commissioners are willing to work with you on that sort of like, listen, I really want to get this costume, however, but you also have to understand if they don't want to do that, because again, if you back out at the last minute, then they're out of all this time that they've worked. But if you are like, hey, I really would love to pay this in installments and work out a reasonable installment, work out a reasonable installments thing, I'm sure that like that is something that commissioners would be open to. I wish, Ashley, can you tag Melissa here? I wish that she were a part of this. I don't know if she's at work, but can you tag her? Thank you.
Philip actually just posted replica weather. Replica prop forums, I was about to say it again, keeps a few lists of scammers for cosplayers and like we say, Facebook is a wealth of information.
Totally.
A few lists of scammers, but it's more geared towards the professional side of actors, movies, and such. But some big-time cosplay scammers get noticed there too.
Right. Also, Natalie said, I definitely think it's okay to ask about methods, but when people are emailing me daily to ask about a million things, it takes more of my time to reply, and if I gave a set price already, I don't like to change the price. No, and I totally understand that. It's more breaking it down. I think that it's worth, I think it's still respectful, definitely, to break it down for a person. Not to change the price, but to be like, this is what it is. This is why I'm charging this much for this. This is why I'm charging this much for this. This is why I'm charging this much for this. Take it or leave it.
Be mindful of whom you're speaking with.
Yeah.
When you start this is kindergarten. When you start an interaction with somebody.
Yeah.
What's happening?
No, I just had everyone tag
Everyone's
Melissa.
tagging her, and she's like,
I just had everyone tag Melissa, and here she is. Hi, Melissa. We're talking about commissioners. Give your experiences. That's all I wanted. That's it.
When you start these interactions with people, they're going to remember your name. They're going to remember you personally. Like, there are times when I'm talking to Tiger Stone, and they're like, We know that you've asked us this before. We don't think it's going to fit your giant cranium. It happens. You're just too smart for us. I get it. Because I have wanted... I
can't with you. Cannot.
I mean, be mindful of whom it is that you're speaking with. You don't want to burn a bridge as soon as you start a transaction with somebody. Mm-hmm. That's just foolish.
Yeah, and Ashley says, the thing that has been frustrating for me is when I quote someone a price and then they ghost. But what people don't understand is pricing includes the base, shipping, styling time, etc. When people want their makeup, it's like when people want their makeup done for free,
I would much rather someone ghost on me than say, oh, well, I could get somebody else to do that for cheaper.
It is, but the ghosting aspect is hard. I think that's just part of the business, which is so unfortunate because people are going to quote you and be really excited, but then they maybe realize that your quote is out of what they were thinking. And so instead of asking you to break it down or trying to figure it out, they're like, oh, I just can't do that right now. But yeah, Melissa, I had everybody tag you because we're talking about commissioners, and I'd love to know some of your tips for people asking what you really like people asking you when they're going in for a contract, that sort of stuff.
There was a comment that I want to try and see if I can get back to.
Yeah.
It was by Nana Z. I stated above, this happens a lot in pageant world, and I wanna try and see if we could find that comment. Please do forgive us. I have to find a different one. Nope. This is a great
Oh, here
topic.
we
I'm
go.
going through this as a costume dress designer in pageant groups.
Wow.
Parents have been scammed so much than disappointed
Yeah.
when their little girl does not have that costume to wear. And that's
I
a
have heard
reality.
that happens a lot in the pageant,
world? Oh, yeah.
It happens a lot in like any sort of costuming, in any sort of costuming world, in like ice figure skating. I know a lot of people that are out there saying that they're making outfits for figure
Those
skaters.
costumes are elaborate.
They are elaborate, and
And
so
you
also
pay a lot of
so
money
much
for
money.
them.
Watch Tanya. She could not pay for them, guys. We got to be a little bit more respectful that Anya Harding couldn't pay for the damn costumes. Calm down. Margot Robbie, marry me.
Allison Janney, please
Oh my
become
God.
my adopted mother.
You don't understand. I'm a huge fan of The West Wing.
I love-
She has been my mom since I was 7, I think.
I adore that.
She's
woman
been
to
my mom's
pieces.
mom since I was 7. That's
By
it.
the way, if
CJ
you
Craig.
want to get further recognition that the two of us are Allison Janney
Yeah.
and Chris Pratt's ex-wife,
Anna Faris.
thank you.
Yeah.
Watch Mom. You'll see
Yeah.
the parallels.
Great. But Anna Faris is like sort of falling apart in that, isn't she? What statement are you making about me?
Absolutely.
My
nothing.
life is fine.
My little hat rack.
How dare you? My little hat rack?
Yep.
Is that what she calls her?
No.
Oh, you're just calling me a hat rack?
That's what Dorothy calls Sophie in the
Oh,
Golden Girls.
yes, I wasn't even putting that together. All right.
I'm just the sweetest little thing in the universe.
Mom.
Actually, never mind. I'm not going to finish that statement.
But yeah, so commissioning.
Know who you can trust. Talk to your
Yeah.
friends. Like, it's the same thing with photographers. Talk to people.
And listen,
talk to people that have worked with them before in the past. Talk with them.
Yeah, commissioners also want your work. They want your work. They want to work with you. But they're also people. And they're people that, like, you need to respect and that are just trying to make a living. And this is their time. This is part of their living. And so equal respect on both ends is what should be expected.
Oh, I want to... Ashley,
Yeah.
Tom Cat, what was the end of your Catwoman story? Well, I did end up getting the costume.
Yeah.
But it took X, Y, and Z. Like, I ended up getting forms from California saying, fill out this, fill out this, fill out this, and send it back to us. I was on the phone with my lawyer saying how much would it cost to potentially sue this person for breach of promise and for stealing, basically.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's honestly going to cost you more to file a suit out of state than anything else. I was like,
Well, great.
strike it as an incomplete forward pass.
Yeah. Okay. Melissa says, commissioning is a huge learning curve that I'm still working through. It involves running a small business on top of sewing. Most of my clients at this point are word of mouth. So yes, talk to your friends, which
Talk to people.
we always
Talk
say
to
this when you're
people.
booking photographers, when you're booking really any sort of
Cosplayers,
person.
any sort of artist.
Yeah, word of
when
mouth.
you're trying to
Yeah.
create a piece. I follow so many artists on Tumblr, and it's just like they ask $15 for a full body or
I know.
$50 for a full
Yeah.
body, depending on how intricate.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like-
say, like, literally right now, I have like a kind of a perfect example of somebody who's been super communicative with me because of an art piece has like taken a little bit longer. I commissioned a lovely person. Opalines is what she goes by. She's an incredible artist. She designed that up there. She designed that up there. I'm pointing to you, just for you for reference, Mom. But she's amazing, and she's been super communicative with me. Where she was like, "Listen," she's like, "I took on a bunch of commissions. I think I outdid myself a little bit." She's like, "I'm working on school right now. Is there an end date that you need this by? Or can I work on this a little bit longer?" And she was super communicative with, like, if I needed it immediately, she would prioritize it. And she was messaging all of her clients asking this. And, like, I super respect that as a customer. Like, you going out of your way and being super honest with me and really, really she's updated me every way of the process. And, like, I super appreciate that.
Communication, kids. We've had this conversation an innumerable amount of times.
So many times.
Talk to your people.
Do it.
Please. For all that is good and holy.
Do it.
Talk to people.
Do it.
There's nothing inherently wrong with having these conversations.
No.
I am trying so hard to ate showing these sweat stains.
Oh, it's just like, I'm literally
time.
wearing an adult onesie to try and
It's a time.
tone it down. Yeah.
Melissa Milne. Communication is key. A commissioner should be giving you updated pics for costumes as they go, as well as any other information that may be useful, just like you said, Kristen.
Well, I am a genius, so I'm kidding.
I have the large crane. She's a genius.
That's it. Here it is. That's
another thing that I want to point out: measurements.
Yeah.
Know your shit before
Don't
you
lie
eat.
about your measurements.
They're
too.
going. This just blows my mind. As a costume designer, it is stupid of you to lie about your measurements. And then once you get it, say, oh, well, it doesn't fit. No, you just lied about your measurements saying that you have a 38-inch waist when actually it's 42.
Which is like, again, like, I understand that in your brain, what you're doing is probably setting a goal for yourself or whatever. Like, just give your correct measurements. That's going to make everyone's life so easier. And if let's say you are like have a couple month commission going on and you do lose weight or gain weight, like be upfront with your person about it. Be upfront with your person about it. Be like, hey, I'm not sure what to do. I want to be honest. There's an inch here or less of an inch here or whatever. Like being honest about that sort of thing is going to save you.
One of the things that a lot of my theater friends have done is they will usually say, give us your measurements, and then we're going to have an actual session where we will measure you.
Yeah, if that's available, awesome.
9 times out of 10, someone will fib a little bit, and then when they do the measurements, it'll have to be... You'll have to hear the God's honest truth.
Yeah, and like Melissa is even saying like that she once had to alter something for one of her clients, and like because they were just dishonest about their measurements, and like that's super hard. Like and that's honestly going to almost certainly cost you more money because the commissioner can prove that they did it to your measurements. You know, like they can prove that sort of thing. It's costing you more money. It's wasting the commissioner's time. It's wasting your time, and quite frankly. Like, this is, I know you're not a fan, but to quote kind of some of the guys from Queer Eye, I know you're not a fan. The new series is better, I promise you. So, to quote from Queer Eye, like, that's your clothes that fit you well will flatter you. That fit you well. You want clothes that are going to fit you well. Like, that's...
I'm sorry, you are adding me a whole lot right now. I appreciate having double XL, 4XL, 5XL shirts because I look like B. Arthur in all of them.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. Okay.
I appreciate my flowy clothing, thank you.
All right, you see, bitch. All right.
I ask for so little. I ask for just an ounce of respect and I don't get it.
When have you asked for so little? I'm kidding. Mama, can you hear me?
When have I ever asked?
I'm
never.
kidding.
I have never asked for so little.
I love you. Yes, New Queer Eye is great. You can go buy merchandise that I've made on Redbubble. Bye. Okay, bye. Mumbai, Dubai. Bye.
No, there was actually
yes,
I want to go out because there was comments that I wanted to read. Hey. I had a client whose measurements were off by, multiple inches.
That was what I was talking about before. We did that already.
As a costume designer, it is the stupidest thing you could ever do. You are wasting your time and your commissioner.
Yeah.
Weight loss has been such a big challenge for me and Melissa. I believe she had to take my princess dress in like days before shipping. And yes.
But Melissa also says, but you told me, so it was okay.
There are people that would just outright lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do that?
Don't lie. Just be honest with your commissioner and be honest with yourself. Take into account that, like, if you notice you're losing weight, remeasure yourself and just be like, are we still at where we were? And if it's past the point that your commissioner can't fix it, you're kind of out of luck on some levels.
SOL.
But, like, you gotta, but also, like, it's so much better to be honest about it. So much better to be honest about it, you know?
Also give every measurement possible, not even just hips, bust,
arms,
and waist. I have filled out a number of measurement charts, and like every time I do it, I'm just like, well, my legs are great. My hips are wonderful. I wish my arms were better. And it's just you become so aware of your own body measurements, and that's not a bad thing because the better fitted your costume is, the better you will look,
and the better you'll feel. better you'll feel. Like what I honestly keep on hand is from the first time that I ordered a Zentai Zone suit, they like make you extensively fill out your measurements.
Same. No, I actually just got a suit from Zentai Zone.
Exactly.
It fits me very well.
And so literally I've kept that chart so that I can every once in a while refill it in, because I think it's such a great example of like they ask for every measurement under the planet, you know, like here, from here to here, everything.
Armpit to wrist.
It's so much better.
Waist,
just give them everything. If they only use a couple of that's fine, but just give it to them all. Like then
it ain't gonna hurt
and
nobody.
And then if it doesn't fit and your measurements match up, then you're in the right to contact the commissioner and be like, hey, I'm still all of these measurements and this is clearly not made to my measurements. What up, you know? It's a safety net for you. It's a safety net for me.
Don't be a shit person.
Yeah, just be like,
because
don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a
Don't
dick.
be a dick.
Don't do it.
Don't be a dick unless your last name is Dick.
And
if your first
Van
name
Dyke,
is Dick or Van Dyke,
then call me.
Then step in time.
Please call me and read Mary Poppins to me. Please.
Oh, God. Brett Woodard said, costume buying in the Super Sentai Power Ranger world is usually hectic with wrong measurements because A, measuring wrong, and B, costumes can take as long as 2 years to arrive in the case with Aniki.
What I will say, as a side note, if you're ever looking for a Zentai suit, which some people use Zentai suits for Power Ranger cosplays,
there's Zentai Zone.
Highly recommend Zentai Zone.
I've heard mixed things about Zentai Zone, but the negatives are not the positives far outweigh the negatives.
And for me, like, so the first time that I ordered a suit from them, it was a Spider-Gwen suit, and I had sent them a pattern I hadn't used theirs, and they have a custom printing thing, and they sent me the suit, and I quickly realized that it wasn't exactly right, and I messaged them, and they literally got back to me immediately. Customer service was so good, and they got back to me immediately, and they were like, don't send us back that suit. We're going to send you a brand new suit for free. That was our fault. Thank you so much for contacting us, and we'll have it to you in a week. And it was like, it truly couldn't have been a better, smoother process, and I really appreciated that customer service, like, was so available and so kind. Like, they were really, so I really recommend Zentai Zone. That's my experiences with them, you know?
Rylana.
I like that name.
Rylana. I've won a sword once in a contest when I got it. It was broken in half. I told the person I paid for the shipping back and repaired it for me. And okay, let's try this one more time, Tom.
I paid for the shipping back, and she repaired it for me and sent it back to me. And she even put a hanger for the sword in the box as an apology, even though it wasn't her fault. I'm going to bring her business cards to the next conventions I'm going to and give them to people who are interested in it. If you're nice to the clients, they will give back to you. Also, sorry for my tough to pronounce name. I'm from the Netherlands.
And we adore you.
You're my people. My mom's maiden name is Veenendahl, so... That's it. I have to go. I have to go to the mainland.
Potpourri. The potpourri. That's all. It's potpourri.
No. Veenendahl. That's it.
Oh,
yeah. Oh.
Boy, the Wizard of Oz references.
Really
my Wicked Witch costume is nearing completion.
Okay.
Walter, my darling Walter, love of my life. I've only got my Superman boots commissioned. They took forever to get done, but once I got them, they were perfect, so I can't complain. Love them so much.
Yeah.
Nicole.
Yeah.
I always try to tell them about my body shape as well, saying that I have wide shoulders and a really long torso, and an hourglass figure can mean a lot more than just the measurements.
Yeah.
That way, it's just a heads up before they... Telling them your size, like one...
Or issues that you even had in the past.
One of the things that Zentai Zone does, they will give you this elaborate measurement chart, but they'll also give you
special
large,
notes and
extra
stuff.
large, double extra large, triple extra large. They'll give you those options.
Yeah, totally.
And
always take that extra. If you think that there's something worth mentioning to your commissioner, mention it to them. For the worst case scenario, it's not relevant. The best case scenario, it totally helps them with the thing that they didn't know about you. You know, like that's if you've run into an issue before where, like, for me, I have really long legs and a short torso, and so sometimes stuff is really short on me. So I recommend that people make stuff long. Stop! I'm trying to make a point. Oh my God!
I'm reading Rich's comment.
Okay, well, hold on. Rich, stop being such a comedian. I will usually let people know that I have long legs and a short torso because typically you should probably make something like an inch longer than you would for me, just because my legs make everything look like it's a nightgown and not in fact a dress. So, all right, now you go ahead.
You read that. I was laughing hysterically at that.
Hi, Catt Kristen. Plaid is good. Plaid is awesome. Plaid is plaid.
You mean to tell me you wouldn't laugh if you read that while I was going for a moment?
Not when I was making such a wonderful statement.
Bullshit, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Ma'am?
Weather.
Well.
Where's Eric?
That was the comment I was waiting on. Where is Eric?
Where is Eric? Wait, let's see.
We?
Okay, let's see.
Zentai Zone is amazing, and they are great if something is wrong. They will quickly fix it.
Yeah, that's my experience too.
For the money and the quality, I won't recommend anyone else.
Yeah, also Zentai Zone.
For Zentai
amazing.
Zone.
Great.
Any recommendations for long distance?
What? Shut up!
Yes!
Shut
I
up!
tell you.
Eric, how did you know? How did you know?
Oh, God almighty. Welcome to Catt and Kristen, where we constantly talk about how much we want Eric here with us in this moment.
That was so bizarre. That was wonderful.
I can't even.
It was like I was Navi being like, hey, listen. And Link heard me.
Link heard you.
Link heard me.
Legit Link heard you.
Oh, my God.
You.
Okay. So.
Any recommendations for long... Get back to Kelsey's comment. Any recommendations for... Sorry, I was busy, but I'm here.
Okay,
Thank you,
read.
Eric. I'm reading the damn comment. Any recommendations for long-distance commissions? We've had a long day, guys. Bear with us.
Oh, my God.
I always try to provide as many and as specific measurements as I can, but since I live by myself, I always doubt the measurements I take on my own are as accurate as they could be. Keep in contact with your commissioners. That's the only piece of advice that I can really, really genuinely give.
Yeah.
The other thing, I know that this is like really, really, really shit advice.
Right.
When you get the piece, if you can put it on and have somebody or yourself pin it to the right spot, you could sew it yourself.
Yeah.
Is that the most ideal situation and circumstances? Absolutely not.
Also, considering that the question was about not being able to take their own measurements because they live on their own.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the hell of the comment. I mean, that's the hell of what I'm trying to say, not the comment. We love the comment. Thank you for commenting.
We love you. Stay.
We love you. Please
share.
Stay. Don't leave. Share.
Don't leave. We need you. Can you hear me?
This is a different kind of love song.
Oh, I'm like, I need to unzip this, but I'm not wearing anything else underneath
nope.
it. And so...
She is only wearing a bra, and I am literally sweating through this.
This is where we're at.
When it comes to long distance commissions, just be honest with them.
Yes.
Keep the lines of communication open.
Yeah.
There is nothing bad that you can tell them that they probably haven't already heard or that they're not used to at this point.
Totally.
Go with your gut.
Do it.
That's all I can say on the subject is go with your gut. Because I have had a number of long distance commissioners. One hasn't sent me anything in the last 7 years.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. A joy. It took me, now mind you, this was before I learned the joys of sewing. So I unfortunately was unable to procure a certain costume that I wanted.
Right.
And I'm still waiting on something. Do I think it's going to come?
This is why I tend to not commission because I might trust
you might trust the wrong person.
Also, at this point, there isn't a lot that I'd want commissioned. It would mostly be like resin pieces.
If you can make it yourself, if you can make it yourself, it's just easier.
That's just where I'm at, though. I totally understand people wanting to commission.
Anyway,
boop-a-doop, boop-boop-a-doop, hard toe, etc.
You guys still look faboo, sweating all.
Thank you. Hit that like button.
Hit that like button.
Send full body photos too. That can help commissioners judge the measurements as well.
I have a very fun story to tell, actually.
Please do.
So, years ago, when Mae West was still alive.
Yeah.
I said it was a while ago.
Yeah.
Elsa Schiaparelli, gorgeous, gorgeous costume designer.
Yeah.
Wanted to make Mae a custom gown. So they made Mae a model double. Like they did what a lot of cosplayers do. They created a cast out of Mae's body, sent it to Elsa Schiaparelli, who then created a magnificent gown for her. Talk to your commissioners first, because I don't think they want to get sent your body parts.
No.
Unless otherwise noted, just so that they have that frame of reference.
Yeah.
Some commissioners who are your friends would rather you do that than anything else.
Yeah.
Also, very important to remember, and we've talked about this in other episodes, if you want to make a bodysuit for yourself and you don't know your measurements and you want to create a duct tape
pattern?
Not pattern.
Cast?
Not cast. The My Double things that they sell at body forms. Body forms?
Sure.
Mannequins.
Right.
That is. You leave me the hell alone, woman.
I didn't say anything.
Of course you didn't. You didn't have to. Your eyes said it. If you. And now she sips the tea. Thank you, Tomcat.
Eric said weather. Wait, can we just get cups and say weather?
Well, that was a nice look, actually. Very Greta Garbo.
Did Kelsey dress forms? When the audience is filling in the blanks for you, that's when you know you've
tired.
reached a new level.
Oh, you know you is tired.
Woo! All right.
Any hoozle, back on the farm.
Yes.
Dress forms. If you want to create your own, it is always important to, and I know that this is streaming a little bit away from the whole commissioners thing, scammers and such. Just have a friend nearby.
Yeah.
One day, maybe in the next month or 3, I'll get into plastic saran wrap and she'll put the duct tape on me and we'll just have a day.
Sounds like
a time. I don't want that to be a thing that happens.
Sounds like an interesting thing for me to text my boyfriend is what that sounds like.
I'm putting duct tape on Tom. Okay, sounds pretty routine.
See you later, babe.
Oh, graciousness. It's always important to have a friend. If you don't have a friend available, go with your gut.
Yeah.
Use your measuring tape to the best of your abilities. Yeah. Don't flex.
No.
Never, ever, ever flex, because that will
try to get everything as you would be standing, as you would be, don't, and same thing with, sorry, but don't suck it in either. Don't try to, unless you want to be literally standing like that for the full day, because sometimes that is the make or break it of a costume. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you are planning, I know a lot of people that under bodysuits and under their cosplays, they will wear fitwear. And they will wear corsets and all that sort of stuff.
I usually under my outfits, I usually wear hips. I wear a corset.
Take that into account. If you are going to be doing that, that can make the difference between a sagging costume, a costume that doesn't look right. You really take all of those things into account. Of if you're going to be wearing shapewear of some sort, that is going to make a drastic difference. Think about that.
Usually, what we recommend is when you put what you're wearing underneath the costume on and then take the measurements, that's what it's going to be. Yeah.
Wear the right undergarments that you're going to be wearing. Same thing, women, don't take your measurements without a bra on. Bras make a difference. If you're going to be wearing a bra,
one thing that is super important to remember, and I'm piggybacking off of Melissa's, don't flex and don't wrap too tight.
Yeah. Think about normal clothing.
It is better to have more fabric to play with than it is to have less.
Commissioner can fix the more fabric. Commissioner can't fix the less.
It doesn't work. That's not how it works.
Nope.
That's not how any of this works.
Always better to over than under. But don't do a 4-inch over. Do a 1/2 inch over.
I did 4 inches once. I ended up looking. Whew.
Ma'am.
Story time.
Ma'am. Story time.
When I started doing my own thing, I had cut out a pattern, which we'll eventually be talking about. Patterns. And it was for my Wicked Queen costume. And I initially wanted it to be the Disney-inspired look.
Right.
The long dress, the long bell sleeves. It looked phenomenal. But it would fit a sumo wrestler appropriately because of how much extra I put on the pattern.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always good to cut the pattern at the largest and then take it in that way.
When I made my Sailor Mars Fuku, I literally, there are pictures of, because again, I know that I am a long-legged lady with a short torso. I specifically literally put the skirt, when I first initially tried it on, there are pictures, was knee length. I literally left that much fabric because I was like, this is going to be really particular at what length I want it.
You want it to be specific.
It had to be a perfect length, and I was like, I would much rather cut a whole chunk of this off. Even though it's a little bit of a waste of fabric, I would rather cut a chunk of this off and then hem it, so that I don't end up with a skirt that is just too short, especially with Fukus, because they're like a weird.
They're so weird.
They have to be longer towards the bottom and then go up because of the hip. Yeah, they're weird. Short legs with a long torso. Yeah, everybody has their different. So I'm sure that things are too long on you a bunch of times. My lovely Venus Jessica says dem legs, leggy TM.
I have long legs and a long torso.
Leggy TM. As well as you.
Leggy TM.
That's what we call. There are a couple girls in our group that have done like big slits and stuff in dresses before, and we'll be like, "Look at that leggy," and we'll put the little TM copyrighted next to it. That's what we always do. Leggy. I have corgi legs. You have the best legs then. I want a corgi butt. That's it. I just want a corgi butt. That's it.
Oh,
a little cute
that
one.
comment you made this morning still touched
Oh,
me. Can I touch your butt? Can I just touch your butt?
Cosplay is not consent. So I said, even though I knew that Tom would probably not be upset if I touched his butt, I said to Tom, I was like, Tom, can I touch your butt? And he was like, yeah. And so, grab that booty.
I have a very nice touch.
It's true.
I do.
Just grabbed it.
I take very good care of my
But
butt.
I asked.
But she asked.
I did. And if you had said, no, I would prefer you not to, I would be like, totally understand.
Like I never say that to you.
I know you wouldn't, but but on the off chance that you were like, Madame. God'll get you for that, Kristen.
Just like that. Just like that. That is exactly how it was it. Madame.
Fingers away from thy bouteille. Bye. Bye.
Fingers away from the bouteille.
From thy bouteille.
From thy bouteille. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Muslins are awesome, too. I always keep a tunic, muslin with notes, written on it for adjustments.
Totally.
This is most advice for commissioners.
Yeah.
I do want us to sort of get back on the whole scamming thing, but
yeah.
I mean, we can only talk about it so much.
Yeah.
Know whom you're talking to. Also, if you are going to be that asshole that will catfish someone or catfish a prop maker, don't do it.
That's what I am totally fine with.
You will be found out.
And that's what I'm not someone that loves like public outing of people. That's when I'm like, yeah, totally. Tell other commissioners about that person, quite frankly, because like they're going to waste other people's time and energy. Like, nah. There's one, I will not drop names because that's not what we do here, but there's like one shop on Instagram that gets a lot of attention, and I know a lot of people that have been directly scammed by this shop, and it takes a lot out of me to not post them and be like, guys, be on the lookout of this damn shop because they scam you out of a lot of stuff. I don't understand how people don't see the massive, terrible reviews. And the problem is that person puts it on their Instagram and then it's like, people are bullying me, but it's like, no, they didn't get their product.
That's the other thing that a lot gaslighting.
Gaslighting,
not fun. Not fun for anybody. Mm-mm. And lying about being shit talked about.
Yeah.
You're going to talk to the wrong person, and they're going to find out about it.
And don't talk about a person unless you have receipts. Don't talk about a person unless you have receipts, because then if somebody comes to you, you want to have that knowledge. Unless it's like a close friend who's obviously going to believe you. But a lot of people are going to ask for proof, and just make sure that you have the proof legally for yourself. Mm-hmm. Because you never know what person is going to come out and be like, that's slander coming after you. Yeah. Yep. Christy Lynn. Guys, I'm here.
I made it. Everything is going to be okay.
She's working on some amazing latex work right now. Yeah. Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, like some skin stuffs. It's crazy.
I remember my first time sewing latex.
She's not sewing. She's making prosthetics.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Somehow this conversation is reminding me of the James Cagney movie The Public Enemy, where Cagney and his pal are getting fitted for suits. Cagney keeps emphasizing that he wants plenty of room in the front. On one hand, it's a dick joke. On the other hand, he needs room for his guns. It's a gangster movie.
That's another thing. If you have a prop that you need to put in a pocket, ask for a pocket. Just as a side
Always.
note. Ask for pockets.
Always ask for
Listen,
pockets.
give a bitch a pocket, please.
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 Actually, this is a good note that I learned from Pepper Monster and from Canvas Cosplay. Usually, if a gown has like a side seam, they'll leave like 6 inches of room and then sew a pocket into that so that it's completely covered up.
Yep, totally.
And I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I wanted to put a pocket into Meefup, and then I realized that it just wasn't going to work with her hips.
Well,
yeah, but I might try to still put one on a fin. Do you know that Yaya Han discontinued that specific fabric that I used? I know. And so I've been trying to find it on the black market. Been trying to find it on the online, in the deep web.
The black fabric
market. If anybody has any 4-way stretch Yaya Han pleather.
What color was it? Because I'm sure it was a specific
red pleather.
Red pleather?
Yeah, just red pleather. So upset about it. I bought it specifically because I was like, this will be available for a long time. Bye. I still have to...
That's another thing, commissioners. If you think you're going to run out of fabric, let the customers know.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, how many times can we say the same thing? Communicate!
Yep. On both ends. On both ends. Yeah, and don't lie to your commissioner also about your measurements because then they won't get enough fabric. Bye. Or they might get too much fabric and you're wasting your money. Bye. In general, bye.
In regards to... Thank you. In regards to scamming, just watch your shit.
Watch your shit.
Keep your receipts.
It's unfortunate that this is a thing that we got to talk about on both ends, and commissioners also keep your receipts.
Commissioners also keep your receipts. Absolutely.
Spell out a very direct contract. If it is somebody that you don't know, spell out a very direct contract about what is getting to people when. Yeah.
Reeves actually kept most of his receipts, and that's how what happened recently happened, because he was able to contact someone saying, hey, they almost got me. Yeah. Let's find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Yep.
It's a situation that I really wish we didn't have to talk about, but you know, this is the cosplay community where we will talk about anything and everything that goes on within it.
Melissa says, was it the
Ultra
Ultra Preem? They're bringing that back with the basics line in the spring in basic colors. I don't know if it was. I'll have to look. It was the Aya Han's collection.
Do you still have the board that it was on?
I know exactly what it is. Oh. Yeah. She didn't have an extensive collection, so I know exactly which one it is. I was literally just looking into it yesterday. I got very excited because Cosplay Fabrics International said that they have it, and then I went through the whole process of checking out, and then they were like, "Oh, we don't ship to you," and I was like, "Fuck off!" They emailed me today. They emailed me today, and they're like, "You left something in your cart," and I'm like, "Yes, bitch, because you won't ship it to me." I'm gonna email them and be like, "So, quick question: who do I have to pay?"
What amount of money would you like for them to send it?
Who do I need to shout out on Facebook.com/Catt Kristen? Who? Tell me.
Oh dear.
We should probably start wrapping up.
We should wrap this up. I think it's about an hour.
Oh yeah, hour 4. Wow, we're back though.
We're here. Oh, we're here. We hope you've missed us.
We hope so. Final note from Eric, because Eric deserves our final note always. Make a status asking all your cosplay friends about specific commissions. Always do research. Always look for reviews first. And that is the perfect cap, because you should do those things. And you should also share this episode of Catt and Kristen with your friends. Especially
as if I haven't enough, but go right on ahead and share.
Do
away.
It because the 14 other shares.
Tag your friends.
Yeah, tag your friends. Kristen, who do they ship to? I have multiple friends in multiple countries. We will discuss, Christy Lynn. We will discuss. Oh, one other thing I just wanted to mention, because I had mentioned on here that I was going to Anime Next with my lovely Moon Menagerie people. There's a very good chance, and I don't want to get into it, that I'm not going to Anime Next. I had talked to some people about meeting up and doing stuff, and so I super apologize if and anybody was expecting to see me there. There's a very, very good chance that I'm not going, which is upsetting, just for personal reasons. Nothing crazy, just like for personal reasons that I might not be going, which is super upsetting. But if you see my Moon Menagerie group there, go up to them and hug them and tell them the nice things. Tell my Venus,
tell them all the good things.
Tell my Venus especially that her wifey misses her, because I will miss Jess so much. And Christy Lynn's gonna be there too, and I'm just like so fucking bummed.
I would love for us to start going to conventions together again.
I know.
You know, it's so hard when life gets in the way.
This is my first Anime Next in a couple years, too, that I'm missing, which is just like, it's all a fucking bummer. It's a bummer, man, and I don't... Yeah,
life happens.
Sometimes life happens, and your body is telling you that it's not the right time.
Our cosplayer of the week!
Yes, is that snarky gay guy!
That snarky gay guy is one of those rare breeds where he is snarky and gay.
And also very talented. No, and also
he is
very
also
talented.
Incredibly talented with
Does
makeup.
an amazing Gwenpool. If you don't know, Gwenpool is one of my cosplays. Like literally, almost cried when the comics came to an end. But she's coming back in another set of comics, so I'm so excited.
Naturally.
But does an amazing Gwenpool that I just like love, full canon and everything. It's so good.
He's very good with makeup.
Yeah.
He stands for a lot of what's good and right in this community, and also calls people out on their bullshit.
Yeah, true.
We love and adore him dearly.
Yeah.
And you can find him on Facebook and Instagram, I'm pretty sure, under ThatSnarkyGayGuy.
Yes. Yeah. So anybody knows him, please tag him. We know him. We can tag him.
We're
gonna make a featured post, but if you wanna add him for us, please do. Please do. But yeah, super delightful. We literally, like, just to give a quick story, because I think it's one of the beautiful things of cosplay. We literally met him at WinterCon, and then immediately went out with him and also darling Matt. Hit Cosplay. And we literally we had never met the two of them before, 4 or 5 hours at a diner with one another. First time meeting, literally. The power of cosplay. Just the power of cosplay.
The power of cosplay.
Just because I love stories like that. Okay, otherwise, Tom, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram at the.tom.cat. CATT. Please always spell my name with 2 T's. I didn't do that for your health. I did it for mine. If you want, you can find me on Facebook at TomCatConMom, Vero, Tomcat, YouTube, Tomcat13, just Tomcat. All over the place. Actually, I looked myself up on Google.
We just did that before we started.
And the first picture that comes up is me and my Gajinka Gasly cosplay, which, by the way, the greatest picture taken by Jason LeBoy.
Damn legs, though. Leggy TM.
Leggy TM. But that's how you can find me. And if you want to find this charming creature,
you can find me at Shut Up Kristen, KRISTEN. I'm a 10, not a 10. On all social media, I claimed it everywhere. It is mine, except for on Twitch, where it's the Shut Up Kristen, which is upsetting. I know. I don't want to talk about it because it makes me annoyed because I don't like putting the in front of it because it makes me feel like I'm trying to be someone, but like I'm just me. It's upsetting.
Are you adding me?
No, I'm not. You're Tomcat Con Mom. But you're the.tom.cat. But that makes sense on Instagram to me. On Twitch, it seems like elitist to me. But
well, thanks.
And I'm like, no, but I'm saying so. I am elitist.
No, I get it completely. I get it completely. When I create my Twitch, I'm going to say the.tom.cat on Twitch, and that's just going to be how it is.
At me forever.
That's right. At me.
At dot .jpeg.
.jpeg. /gov.
.edu. Oh, this is what happens when we spend a full day of shenanigans.
Full day of shenanigans we spend together.
Please let us know as an... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, there will be pictures of the shenanigans that took place today.
Yes.
I promise you.
They're going to be so good. But also, if you guys have any ideas of topics that you want us to talk about, stuff that's coming up that you really want us to discuss, let us know.
You can email us even at catandkristen@gmail.com.
gmail.com. Yeah.
Like, just
there are so many
ideas.
opportunities. Message us. Leave us a comment. Like, add a bitch. Come on now.
See, this is the only time we will say
at me. I mean, like, at me for most of the time. If you have thoughts on Westworld, at me every week.
Thoughts on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, at us.
At us.
Grace and Frankie,
at us.
Disney,
At us. Harry Potter.
At her.
Me specifically. All right, we're
rambling.
It's because I don't want to end it because it feels so nice again. It does feel good.
Back.
It feels
it's
good
nice to be back.
It's nice to be back. And Eric is liking us. Tiffany's liking us. People are liking, which is beautiful.
Like
all right.
the shit out of us.
Please help us stay relevant.
Help us stay relevant.
I wish I could do a really good Cowardly Lion impression. I want one. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not great. I gotta. Yeah, exactly. I wish I could. It's just so. All right.
I'm talented when it comes to my voice.
Sure.
Considering I've stolen so many.
Okay. Yeah.
Ciao meow for now, guys.
Mumbai, Dubai, bye. Now I gotta hit the end button. This is always the awkward part.